How's it going, everybody? It's another great Saturday morning, and we're going to get to it on this project that I got going on. It's a bigger project. This project actually took me 2 Saturdays, but it's all right. We're getting into it. What we're doing here is we are going to do a front suspension rebuild on my 1986 Chevy Camaro. First off, we are struggling with, mismatchable lug nuts. These lug nuts have probably been on there since, the 80s, and a lot of them are swollen or anything like that. But we're going on there. As you know, it's super rusty, so we got to make sure that we put penetrating fluid. I use we just use PB Blaster just to get everything off. And it's working pretty good on here, so we're just gonna keep going. And I have a really bad habit when I work on cars. If I'm working on one particular thing and I feel like it's not really working, instead of getting mad at the project and rage quitting, I simply move on to the next step with the project, so that I can clear my mind, think about it a little bit, and then I go back. You'll kind of see some things jump from one end to the other. It's just kind of the order that I did things. If I have a hard time with one certain thing, I'll move on to something else. Right now I'm just trying to get the strut bolts out so that I can be able to get the knuckle off and also get the strut out as well. This project was a really fun project. It was really nice to be able to do a front suspension rebuild. What we're doing is we're replacing the lower ball joints, the front shocks, and replacing the sway bar links. I have in the past replaced the inner and outer tie rods. And so we're not doing that. The inner and outer tie rods are already been replaced, and those are doing really good. But I don't think that the ball joints have been, replaced at all since the 80s. Same with the shocks. And you kind of saw the sway bar links. They are rusted as crap. They're so bad. I actually had to take an angle grinder and cut them out because it was terrible. Really bad. But to be honest, it's kind of was pretty smooth overall, even though it took me a little bit of time to be able to get this done. But it was pretty smooth. You just kind of have to work, keep in mind it's an older vehicle, so you're going to hit things a lot with hammers. You see here, I was trying to get the knuckle off, and then I skipped to get the shock off because, I was getting a little frustrated with this, so I moved on to the next step. And now I'm back. Trying to get that shock out, and then I'll get the knuckle off. What happened? What's going on? Oh, camera died, and I didn't have time to be able to charge the battery and come out again, so I finished the left side, and so now I'm starting again where I kind of left off and doing it on the right side. You see the sway bar links are terribly rusted. They snapped in half when I tried to use the gun. Now I gotta cut it off with an angle grinder and just hit it out. It's just crazy. You see on these lower ball joints, sometimes you can hit them with a hammer and they'll fall straight out. I was able to do that with the left side, but the right side, unfortunately, was not working how I wanted to. I had to, you see I skipped and went back to the sway bar link because I was having a hard time. The C-clamp ball joint presses are probably the worst invention ever. You don't always have the right parts to be able to use, and it's just so annoying to be able to make the function properly, get the right part or whatever to be able to push and remove or install the ball joint. It is kind of ridiculous. But what I had to do is I had to cut the stud from the ball joint in order to get the C-clamp to fit, and then I could press it out, and then I could orientate it differently so that I was able to push in the lower ball joint. I don't even want to tell you how long it took me to get that sway bar link in. Ridiculous. I had to remove the sway bar completely in order to get it in. It was kind of ridiculous. Right here, we're replacing the front shock mounts. Trying to get those. Every time I would turn the steering wheel, you could hear like a rubbing noise and stuff. And so the sway bar mounts, not sway bar mounts, excuse me, the shock mounts, they were gone, so I had to replace those. So you're getting the new shotgun. Overall, it took like 2 Saturdays and stuff. It's mostly because I didn't have time to continue, but we're getting there, and I'm just excited for how this is going to turn out and stuff. The car drives like a dream. I did have a difficult time trying to get the knuckle lined up with the shock. I had to hit the bolts in with the hammer a little bit to get them in, but we made it work. It's all good. Right here, you can't really see what's going on, but I was tightening up that nut for the lower ball joint, and I was just putting in that cotter pin. What I like to do with the cotter pins is, you wrap around the cotter pin, and I like to hit them a little bit with a hammer so it kind of puts them in place so that they don't move, just to give you a little extra security. And with this right here, we're just packing the new bearings, making sure that they got enough grease in them, make sure they're good. Right here, you gotta tighten the spindle nut and make sure that you're spinning the rotor to make sure that you got enough movement for your bearings, and you got to tighten the nut, not super tight, but just enough, and then you got to back it off a little to be able to allow the bearings, so when they get hot they can expand, and then it will make up for that play in there. But I'm excited. We're almost done with this project. Just about done putting the brake hose back into the strut or the shock. It's not really a strut, but who knows. I'm just a guy just working on my car. Okay, so don't make fun. Got that outer tie rod, just putting that in, and then we're so close to take this for a ride. Haven't had my car for like 2 weeks. It's going to be amazing to be able to get it back on the road and test out the suspension. Another thing that I did do here is I replaced all the lug nuts all around. It really needed that, but I'm excited. Let's take it for a test drive. And I didn't do an excessive test drive, but this car eats corners. It's amazing. If you like it, you like it. Come back next time.